What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. A WrestleMania Backlash is just days away, and it's time to see what's the latest and greatest on the WWE's first pay-per-view after WrestleMania. Damn, they're really cashing in on WrestleMania, aren't they? And join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including why is Braun in the WWE Championship picture, Alexa Bliss reveals Lilly's identity, a number of spoilers, a first at Backlash, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 1 is Braun doomed at Backlash. Is Braun doomed to count the lights for Bobby Lashley at Backlash? Well, that seems to be the consensus among fans who see the Monster Among Men's insertion into the match as a convenient way for Lashley to retain his WWE Championship without Drew McIntyre taking another loss. Strowman, no stranger to winning matches against uppercard opponents only to choke when it matters in the main event, seems like the ideal candidate to protect Drew McIntyre. With McIntyre losing to Lashley at WrestleMania 37, it makes no sense for the Scottish Warrior to lose again, both because he's the top babyface on Raw, but because the WWE likely wants to set up a Lashley-McIntyre rubber match somewhere down the road. Equally, it could also have the opposite effect, where Lashley doesn't get pinned, but loses the championship to Drew McIntyre with Braun getting pinned. Definitely a likely scenario, as fans are hopefully returning at SummerSlam, and the WWE always wanted to test to see if Drew McIntyre was over with the live crowd. SummerSlam is only just a couple of months away, so could this be the time where Drew McIntyre wins the championship back? Number 2, Alexa Bliss to reveal Lilly. I chalked this one up to wild speculation, but we have a feeling that the WWE is going to wait until Backlash for the big reveal about who Alexa Bliss's infernal friend Lilly is. Bliss has spent the last few weeks talking up Lilly and hinting that she's going to make a big splash soon, but the reality is that the storyline has fallen short of anyone's expectations. Having Bliss turn on the Fiend at WrestleMania seems to be one of those instances of them coming up with an interesting angle without putting much thought into it long term. However, they could salvage this storyline with the right person playing Lilly, and we can't think of anyone as fitting for the role as Nikki Cross. Cross, who proved popular when she teamed with Bliss, plays the psycho heel well and could revive this pathetic plot. What do you think of Cross joining forces with Alexa Bliss? Let us know in the comments down below. Number 3, history in the making. Wrestling promotions like to boast about history-making events, and since wrestling as a work sport, it's often just a matter of making a match. Sunday features SmackDown Tag Team Champions Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defending the belts against the father-son team of Rey and Dominic Mysterio. While the WWE has had tag titles for decades, no father-son duo has ever held the belts, and many fans are anticipating that Rey and Dominic will make history this Sunday. Not only would this be a good way to help elevate Dominic more, who hasn't been doing much of anything since the end of the Mysterio family's feud with Seth Rollins, but it will put the belts on a babyface team. Why is that so important? Well, you'll likely recall an earlier news video where we discussed how the wrestling rumor mill has it that Jey and Jimmy Uso will win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship in the near future in order to help further Roman Reigns' faction. While a heel versus heel match could be exciting, the universe knows that the WWE traditionally doesn't book them, and it's more likely a face team will drop the belts to the Usos. Number 4, why Backlash is now WrestleMania Backlash. The WWE's decision to rename its Backlash pay-per-view to the wordy WrestleMania Backlash moniker has led to memes, laughs, and a few questions. Now, while we haven't heard any confirmed stories behind the rechristening, there are a number of good reasons, at least reasons that seem good to WWE. The WWE is working hard to promote its new partnership with the Peacock streaming service rather than taking a take the money and run approach to things. While there are plenty of WWE Network fans who made the switch to Peacock, the WWE and Peacock likely believe there are new fans who watched WrestleMania and who would like to see what's next for the WWE product, well, at least on pay-per-view. Adding WrestleMania to Backlash means viewers have a stronger idea of what the show is about, and with any luck, viewers will tune in. The WWE received a small fortune by selling the WWE Network rights to Peacock, but it wants to keep them happy when it's time to renew the rights. Second, WrestleMania the sequel. Like any marketing branch, the WWE's marketing machine is all about hyperbole and getting people excited about something that's essentially the same product. We've all seen companies boast about their new and improved product, which makes people wonder if the previous editions were old and inferior, and that's what's happening with Backlash this year. The WWE wants to polish up its long-running Backlash show, but it doesn't want to dilute the WrestleMania name by calling it WrestleMania the sequel. Thirdly, Vince is gonna Vince. Now, another reason Backlash got a long name is, well, because Vince is gonna Vince. It's not difficult to imagine Vince McMahon plotting out the next wrestling show, likely minutes before it takes place, while he shaves his face with his ever-present electric shaver. Pritchard is likely there reminding Vince that SmackDown is mere moments away, and so far there's only one match scheduled. Suddenly, McMahon shouts out, "Let's call it WrestleMania Backlash." Number 5, a big return. Now, although this story has been circulating since the Royal Rumble, Becky Lynch's return seems imminent and Backlash seems like a good place for her to return, especially since Money in the Bank is the WWE's next pay-per-view. While it's likely that Lynch will return to her home on Raw, don't rule out a surprise jump to SmackDown if the man wins this year's Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Lynch has several good opponents on the red brand, but matches against Sasha Banks, Bayley and Bianca Belair could be just as good if not better as Becky battling Charlotte, Asuka or Rhea Ripley. Lynch's mere appearance at the end of the Raw Women's match would be an excellent way to pop the crowd and get the fans to tune into Raw. Just recently, you may have heard in our news video that she's recently signed a new contract worth $1 million per year. We're sure WWE wants to squeeze every penny out of that contract. Having a turn up at Backlash will be a huge talking point. Number 6, filling out the show. As usual, the WWE hasn't filled out the card for Backlash, and with 6 matches announced, fans should expect at least one, well, possibly 2 more. A likely candidate seems to be the New Day challenging AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team Championship, but there are some other championship possibilities, including Sheamus defending his US Championship, when it would have likely been against Humberto, but he seems to be injured, or Apollo Crews putting his Intercontinental Championship on the line. The Nigerian Prince has already defended the belt against former champion Biggie, but endless rematches are no stranger to WWE shows, and it would fit into the Backlash theme. Fans may see a match with the new duo of Team RK Bro, but unless they book them into a tag title match, it's difficult to think of any meaningful opponents for them this Sunday, and the WWE is likely going to continue developing the storyline on Raw. Be sure to check back for our predictions for this year's show. Number 7, Backlash wildcards. Or what wildcards will come into play at Sunday's pay-per-view? For example, would Cesaro get a fair fight against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, or will there be the usual interference from Jey Uso? And speaking of the Usos, what of brother Jimmy? Well, while it's expected that Jimmy will align with Roman, the WWE hasn't made things certain about Jimmy being on board as Roman's bitch. Add in the Swiss Superman's current nemesis Seth Rollins and you have a title match that could turn into an overbooked disaster. Thankfully, Roman has been booked better than most WWE wrestlers, and with any luck, the Cesaro vs Roman match will feature minimal or no interference at all. In fact, I think it's going to be quite the opposite. I think it's just going to be a dominant Roman Reigns mauling Cesaro down. But that's only the beginning though, as a triple threat match for the WWE Championship offers intrigue with the ongoing question of whether Mace and T-Bar are aligned with MVP and the Hurt Business. They've been teasing this question for the last few weeks, and let's hope it doesn't fall by the wayside, much like the Retribution storyline did. Number 8, conspicuous by their absence. With the WWE limiting most pay-per-views to 6 matches, it's difficult to get many superstars on the show. Nevertheless, there will likely be a number of big names absent from Sunday's pay-per-view, including Sasha Banks, The Fiend, unless he makes a random appearance, Kevin Owens, Jeff Hardy, and Sami Zayn. Now, although it's better for them to refrain from just throwing wrestlers into matches, these stars' absences are a reminder that a large number of superstars have no important storylines going on, and that a number of stars, including Zayn and Owens, seem to be going down the ladder like Jeff Hardy. And number 9, wrapping things up. Look for WrestleMania Backlash to wrap up a number of storylines, including Ziggler and Rude's reign as SmackDown Tag Team Champions, as well as Drew McIntyre's quest for the championship. They might hopefully shift gears into a new direction. However, don't be surprised to see a rematch between Bayley and Bianca Belair, as well as Cesaro and Roman Reigns. Backlash will close out some programs while also continuing some new ones. But there you have it folks, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know about WrestleMania Backlash. Are you guys looking forward to the pay-per-view? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.